ever met someone and were like, oh, this is why no one likes you? When I was in high school, there was these two girls that were like notoriously known for just nobody really liking them, and I never really knew why. And I was dead ass under the impression that they were getting bullied because everybody I knew did not like these girls and thought they were fucked. And I low-key was like, are y'all just being mean? Like, why are you being mean? So I would always stick up for them, and if I saw them in person, I'd be like, who's fucking bothering you? Tell me no, because I felt so bad, and I was like, why does everybody hate them? But this was before I went to their school. Once I switched to their school, one thing was made very clear to me. These bitches were batshit crazy. And everyone hated them because they were genuinely the worst type of person ever. No manners, nosy, rude. Genuinely just like the worst types of people. On top of that, they were just always stealing from the places kids at my school worked at. My one friend worked at Marshall's and caught her stealing socks and got her banned from Marshall's. How the fuck do you even get banned from Marshall's? And I worked at a jewelry store, and these girls tried to steal from this jewelry store so often that it was a known thing that if those girls came in, you'd need like 5 workers surrounding them because they were gonna try to steal. One time they were trying to steal. Listen to this. So we put these charms in front of them to look at, right? And like there was like 6 or 7 charms. Then randomly my coworker notices 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's the 5th one? It's not there. So I was like, hey, where's the other charm? I know how many charms there were, and it's not here. And she's like, what? What do you mean? Oh my god, there was only this many charms. Like, what are you talking about? So we call security, obviously. Security's coming in, staring her down. And then like 15 minutes later, after literally everyone's pressuring her, she goes, okay, like the charm's in my pocket, but I was gonna give it back, I promise. Like I wasn't gonna steal it. Girl. She was banned from the jewelry store, of course. And I had really strict parents, and my mom was friends with her mom. And I was kind of like a rebellious psycho, so I would sneak out and like do whatever, yada yada yada, teenage things. And then she'd see me out, and in front of her fucking mom, she'd be like, oh, are you going to a party tonight? Shh, shh. Girl, you know what you're doing! You know I can't. Like, this is why no one likes you. This is why nobody likes you. And to think, I defended the both of them at one point. Never again. Do you guys remember when we were kids, and it was like the most horrifying thing in the world for your crush to know that you like them? You would probably rather die than have your crush know that you like them. I mean, like, low-key, still me right now. But one of my first crushes that I had in 6th grade, he was cute as fuck. Like, he was everybody's crush. Like, everybody in my school liked him. He was, like, brunette, freckles, like, piercing blue eyes. And y'all, I was in love with this bitch, okay? I was psychotically in love. This is the first guy that I remember, like, making fantasies in my head about. And although a couple of my friends also liked him, they didn't like him the way I liked him, okay? I loved him. I would have literally died for this man. Boy. But I guess like I had a good like loyal group of friends. Like nobody told him that I liked him until I told this fucking other kid. I'm not gonna say names, but I still remember this rat bitch, okay? I told him that I liked this guy after he begged me. He was like, I knew you like someone, like who do you like? So I told him. I eventually told him, and I was like, you can't fucking tell him. And then you know what he does? Literally tells him that night. That night, he told him. And my 6th grade crush of knowing that I liked him was already fucking mortifying and traumatizing enough. Y'all wanna know the story of what he said when he heard that I liked him? So that snake motherfucker went up to him and was like, I know someone who likes you. And then the love of my life is like, who? Like, tell me, I want to know. Like, obviously he's gonna be curious. And he kept being like, no, I can't tell you. Maybe he was in love with him. Who knows? And then y'all want to know what my husband, future baby daddy, love of my life said? Is it Sahar? What do you mean, is it Sahar? He knew. He knew. According to him, I made it very obvious that I liked him. And he did not feel the same. It has been 10 years and I still have not fully recovered from it. I think that's where the depression started. Something I think that too many people learn very late in life is you need to surround yourself with people who make you feel good. I don't mean that they don't make you feel bad about yourself. I mean they make you feel genuinely good. Like you feel better about yourself being around them versus when you're alone. And if they don't do that, I'm being so serious, get rid of them. Cut the bitch off. Bye. They're constantly saying subtle things to try to humble you. Anytime you're confident and you notice there's just like an energy shift or they get kind of uncomfortable, fake, get rid of them. I'm telling you right now, babe, they're preying on your downfall. There's already enough people in this world that probably make you feel like shit about yourself. Your inner circle and your best friends should not be one of those people. They should be hyping you up and they should be happy for you when good things happen to you. And remember, it's better to be alone than be surrounded by people who don't treat you the way you want to be treated.
I have a movie idea. I know it's been a little bit, but I'm back. So hear me out. A young woman has spent basically her entire life in the mental hospital. But while she's in the hospital, she gets pregnant and has a baby boy. Soon after his birth, she begins to act normal and stable, so she gets released to raise him. But by the boy's 18th birthday, his mother is very ill. So he went to go visit her, maybe for the last time. But before he left, her last words to him were, I'm not as crazy as everyone says I am. Trace my steps and come and find me. What? The next day, she died. He wasn't there for the death, and she wanted a closed casket funeral. But her words kept playing in his mind. Come and find me. So he kind of sort of did something really illegal. He dug up her grave. Inside, he found nothing but her mental hospital bracelet from years ago. So he does what she says. He checks himself into the mental hospital and begins to trace her steps. Is his mother alive? Is this some sort of sick game she's playing? Are there more clues within the hospital walls? Or did the pain of her death cause him to lose it?
Once you hear why he did this, it will change the way you look at strangers. In 2018, a woman was out for a walk in the blistering cold when she saw a teen girl coming towards her wearing just pajamas and oversized shoes. Turns out it was 13-year-old missing person Jamie Close, and boy did she have a terrifying story to tell. 87 days earlier, a man had broken into her home in the middle of the night, killed her parents, and then taken her prisoner. He brought her 70 miles away to his house where she was kept under a bed and largely forgotten about. She was just there for no apparent reason. When her captor left one night, she managed to escape, and that's when she ran into this woman on the road. Jamie's captor, 21-year-old Jake Patterson, was quickly found, and he immediately confessed. And this is why he did it. On his way to work one day, he stops behind a school bus and he sees a girl get on. He doesn't know anything about her, and he decides, I'm going to kill her family and I'm going to take her. He had no motive, he had no criminal history. This was truly random.
This is why you should never knock on a stranger's door. Once there was a man trying to check into a hotel. The woman at the front desk gave him his key and told him none of the guests are allowed to go into the room across the hall. He agreed, but as he continued to stay in the hotel, he grew more and more curious about the room he wasn't supposed to go in. At one point, he even walked down the hall to that room and tried the door. It was locked. Then he bent down and looked through the keyhole. He saw that it was just the same as his hotel room. But in the corner of the room, there was a woman whose skin was extremely pale, almost a sickly white. Her back was to the wall, so the man didn't see what she looked like. He almost knocked on the door, but then just decided to leave her alone. The next day, he walked past the door again and decided to look into the keyhole. This time, there was no hotel room and no woman. It was all just red. He thought that this seemed really strange, so he went to the front desk and asked about the room. After insisting on an answer, the woman at the front desk told him, a long time ago, a man killed his wife in that room, and her ghost is still there. But these ghosts are not what you might imagine. They're completely white all over, except for their eyes, which are red.
I left my brother because he was broke. Story time. I mean, so broke that every single time we went on any kind of date, I had to pick up the bill. When we first got together, he was super poor and living with his mom, but I saw past that because we were two struggling college students. He always reassured me that he'd soon be on his feet and be able to take care of me the way that he wanted to. But year after year after year, he kept reassuring me and apologizing that he couldn't. Until I just finally realized that it was just simply never going to happen. Then when I landed my dream job and I started getting promotions and living my best financial life, he started to get jealous of me. He started to say stuff, why don't you take me out for a change? You know, I'm tired of this rule that men have to pay for everything. You're the one with all the money, why don't you provide for me and take care of me? So I started to get fed up because I felt like the man in the relationship. So I started to vent to one of the corporate guys that I work with, and we really started to connect with each other. So I got fed up with him and broke up with him and started to date the corporate guy that I work with. I tried to go change my banking information due to the fact that my ex-boyfriend knew everything, and everything in my bank account was gone. Story time about how my grandma came back to life at her funeral. So my grandma, which is my mom's mom, thought my mom should start dating again since her divorce had been over for so long. My mom met this one guy who was a dentist, and she met this other guy who owned a pharmacist. My grandma had a terrible feeling about the pharmacist and really thought she should be with the dentist. The dentist's name was Devin, and the pharmacist's name was Geraldi. Geraldi wanted my mom to quit her job, be in the kitchen while he went out and made all the money, while Devin was ready to settle down and just enjoy a simple life together. My grandma kept trying to convince my mom that Geraldi was bad news and would eventually be trying to run her. So my mom started to date Devin. About 6 months into them dating, my grandma had a stroke and unfortunately passed away. The funeral became really stressful and depressing and put a rift between their relationship. They broke up. On the day of the funeral, my mom showed up with Geraldi on her arm. My grandma sensed it, kicked open her casket, and choked my mom. Story about how I had to move to Alabama to be with my dad. My mom and dad were very, very toxic, argued all the time, and finally agreed to go their separate ways. It was right after me and my dad got really, really close. But unfortunately, he moved to Alabama to be closer to his family and said whenever I was old enough, I could move there to be with him. My 18th birthday was right around the corner, and I was getting ready to leave. My mother was disgusted with my father and demanded that I stay home. I celebrated my 18th birthday with my mom and sat her down and told her I bought me a ticket to Alabama. My mom was sick. Obviously, she didn't take it well, but once I finally got to Alabama, I was so happy to see him and he was so excited to finally see me. We were finally able to do everything that we wanted and make things official. So we moved into an apartment together and got engaged. I later discovered that I was pregnant.
Storytime about how I found my husband's secret phone. Disclaimer's not my storytime, it's sending me on Instagram. I found 5 dating apps and 2 secret girlfriends on his phone. And I can't even begin to tell you what I found on Instagram. Up until this point, my husband and I had the utmost respect and trust for each other. I never once thought he was capable of doing this. Literally every woman says that when they find out their man is cheating. Around 6 months ago, my husband started a new job. He's in tech and makes a lot of money, so I've been able to stay at home with our kids. We now have 2 kids, and they're both 2 and 5. Our life is amazing. Our parents live near us. We always make time for each other and go out on dates. We even take solo trips on the weekends. Last year, we went to Bali for 2 weeks. My point is, we always make time for each other. When he started his new job, he started earning more money. But this also meant that he took on a lot more work. He was always so stressed out. My husband and I met in college and we studied the exact same thing. We both worked for the same company. Eventually, I retired to take care of our kids. So when he got his new job, I offered to help him out with his work. He was actually really grateful for this, and we were both doing a really good job. He was working from home 3 days out of the week. So it was a great situation. We were spending time together, working together, and the kids were spending more time with their dad. His new job gave him a new cell phone, and this is the cell phone that I would usually use to help him out with his work and his laptop. Part 2 is up. Story time about how I found my husband's secret cell phone, his 2 girlfriends, and his 5 dating apps. Disclaimers is not my story time, it's me on Instagram. I started using his work cell phone to help him out with his job, and he kept his own cell phone. This is when I started noticing that he would make a big deal about losing his phone. Anytime he would misplace it, he would go absolutely berserk. Now, I thought it was just because he was stressed about work, till I realized it wasn't stress. He forgot to silence his phone one night, and the notifications were going off. I woke him up and asked him to turn it off. My mind did not go to him cheating. I thought it was work-related stuff. Then I realized it was his personal phone that was going off, not his work phone. The next day, he apologized for having his work notifications on, and I said, but it wasn't your work phone, it was your personal phone. And he said, no, it wasn't. And I said, yes, it was. And that's when he accused me of being paranoid and crazy. And that's when I knew he was cheating. I had to keep it cool though. I was feeding the kids in the kitchen when this all happened. On this day, he was gonna go to work. I knew that he was gonna take his personal and his work phone with him to the office. So what I did was change the phone covers on each phone and flip them upside down. He grabbed the work phone thinking it was his personal phone. He put it in his pocket and went to the bathroom. And he left his work phone, which was his personal phone, on the countertop. I told him that maybe I should keep it just in case I needed to answer emails, and he said yes. He left, and I had his phone all to myself. As soon as I opened his personal phone, I went straight to the messages, and I found his 2 girlfriends, Laura and Missy. Part 3 is story time about how I found my husband's secret phone, his 2 girlfriends, and his 5 dating apps. Disclaimers are not my story time, it's me on Instagram. I started reading through the text messages between his 2 girlfriends. I scrolled and scrolled and scrolled. He had been together with the first girl for 2 months, and the second girl just for 3 weeks. And in the messages, he was totally bad-mouthing me. He was telling them that I was crazy and abusive, and that's how he justified his cheating to them. I also read in some of the messages that he was complaining about our kids, how spoiled and ungrateful my kids were, and that's why he wanted to escape the house to be with them. Let me tell you, our kids are so considerate and so loving towards us. They're very affectionate children, and they never get upset at their dad whenever he has to go to work. So for him to be talking badly about our children just made everything 10 times worse. After reading the messages for about 2 or 3 minutes, I went to the bathroom and vomited. I was physically ill. His messages were so perverted too. I know that when you start a new relationship, you're always trying to impress people, but he just took it too far. After I vomited, I went back to his phone and kept reading the messages. This is when I found out that he was paying both of these girls rents. So the whole time I'm helping him with his job to earn money for our family, half of that was going to these women. I got sick again. After I calmed down for a few minutes, I went back to his phone. Then I found his dating apps. His dating profile was so disgusting too. He was all about fitness and mental health. He also claimed that he was single in his dating profiles. So on top of him cheating on me, he was cheating on his 2 girlfriends. This time I didn't bother reading all the messages he had in the dating apps, but I did notice that he was going on dates with multiple girls several times a week. Later on, I found out that the whole work situation was a lie. He was working from home the entire time, but going on dates. I took screenshots of everything and went straight to my lawyer. I filed for divorce that very same day. When my husband came home, I confronted him and he denied everything. Even with all the proof, he's still denying it. He's not speaking to our children, and you better believe I'm getting half of all his money. Bye.
Just found out I leaked my own nudes. Story time. So about a month ago, my manager came over and she took me to the side and she was like, I don't want to alarm you, but I've dealt with it. There was a man threatening to leak indecent images of you if you don't send him more. Huh? She said, yeah. He has pictures of your jubblies. Excuse me, I have the chest of a 12-year-old boy. There is nothing to capture. It's just bone. I don't take pictures of that. Ever. Like, I'd understand if I had double D's, but baby, I've got minus A's. So I said, thank you for dealing with a cheeky bit of blackmail in my business email, but he's lying. Let's move forward. So I forgot about it. And then today, I'm uploading a YouTube video, and I haven't checked my channel in ages. What do I see when I check it? Ads limited due to nudity on one of my vlogs. Which vlog is it, you might ask?
I'll vlog getting my nips pierced.
I need to take a class on how to blur correctly. My itty bitty titty committee is on the internet. If you're about to check, please subscribe. And also, I'm sorry in advance.
One day, my cousin made a Tinder, and we were having a family barbecue, so he came over. He was like, oh my god, Sam, like, this really hot girl just, like, matched with me. And then he shows me. And then I see the profile, and it's literally pictures of Madison beer. But the name on the profile was, like, Kalani. I was like, bro, I don't know who you think you're fucking texting, but it's not Madison beer. You're texting someone's fucking auntie right now. Whole ass auntie. He's like, guess we're about to find out. I was like, no? What the no? He's like, yeah, I just gave her the Addy. She's about to pull up. Like, we're gonna meet. Like, it's all cool, Sam. Like, trust me. Trust me. Trust me, he said. I trusted him. So I see a car pull up, and he's like, oh my god, I think it's her. I was like, oh shit, what if I do meet Madison Beer? The door freaking opens, and this old lady pops up. I look at my cousin, and I'm like, go hug her. Go. You were so excited. It's Kalani, the one and only. Come on.
So when I was about 5 or 6, I had a best friend named Maggie who lived next door. We would always go outside and play together. One day around dinner time, we saw a little girl around our age staring at us on the side of another nearby house. She was extremely pale and wearing a white dress. We would see her for days on end in the exact same dress. And as soon as we would yell for her to come play with us, she would run around to the front of her house. One day, we finally decided to chase after her. As soon as we rounded the corner to her front yard, she was gone. Like, she had literally disappeared. When we were walking back, we noticed a pile of dirt next to our house. In the dirt was written Kara with a stick next to it. We just assumed she was shy and wrote her name out for us, Kara. The next day, we saw her again and started yelling, Kara, wait! We ran after her again, rounded the corner, and saw this old couple doing yard work in our front yard. We assumed that they were Kara's parents. So we asked them, hey, where's your daughter Kara? And they were like, that's not funny. And we were like, no, seriously, we've been seeing her every night. We just wanted to know if she wanted to come play with us. The old man looked at us and said, our daughter Kara got hit by a truck and died 30 years ago in front of this house.
Hey, skinnies. Oh my gosh, I haven't said that in a while. So y'all remember Tattoo Boy, right? The one that y'all went feral about last week? Well, he's coming over tonight, and that's why I'm getting ready. So we can play more video games. What the fuck do y'all think we're gonna do? Also, he's not my boyfriend. He's my sketchbook. Just a living human canvas for me to draw random shit on him. And maybe an assistant because he carries all the heavy stuff that I usually can't carry. Like the TV. Isn't that amazing? So, Mom, if you're watching this video, no, I don't have a damn boyfriend. Hope that answered your question. Anyways, well, he's almost here, so that should be it for the makeup look. I'm just feathering out the lips, adding some lip gloss, then of course some dolly lashes, and you should have a brand new person. Okay, wow, I'm really stepping up the game. I'm even catfishing people in real life. Hi, skinnies. Okay, so today I'm getting ready for another date. Sorry, this week I've just been like a complete hoe. Okay, remember the cat outfit guy? Yeah, he's coming back, but this time he's actually going to my place. He's gonna be sleeping in my bed. We're gonna be sharing the same room, and I'm so nervous because this dude is actually huge. He's taller than me. I've never seen a guy taller than me. He can literally pick me up and throw me out the window. What's new? For the look today, he wants me to look like an anime girl again, so we're doing the anime blush. Boring ass dude wants me to look the same all the time. He only wants me to look like a anime girl. Might as well watch hentai or something. I'm tired of this. Anyways, good luck to me. Hi, skinnies. Okay, so today I'm getting ready for another pick appointment. I really hope this one's not gonna turn out messy because I've actually met this guy once before on another app, but he ended up ghosting me on Snapchat and everything. So now, fast forward months later, we reconnect again because get this, he didn't recognize me the last time he saw me. So this time, I'm really gonna change my appearance. So I'm gonna catfish him the fuck out. So here's me overly contouring my nose so I look like a whole different person. I really hope this appointment doesn't turn bad because what if he finds out I'm the same person he blocked like months ago? Oop, and here's Kristen. She's gonna be helping me curl my hair. We're even changing the hair today. We are not playing. So I'll be right back and finish my makeup and add some badongadongs. And ta-da! Imagine getting catfished twice by the same person. Ooh, and this is my bed outfit. Okay, bye skinnies. Wish me luck.
Storytime of why I would never get my makeup done by a makeup artist ever again in my life. So this is during prom season and I really needed my makeup done. I waited last minute to get a makeup artist because at first I wasn't going to get my makeup done, but my mom suggested that it would probably be better for pictures. So 3 days before prom, I found this girl off of Instagram, DM'd her and asked her if she could do my makeup. She was a new makeup artist, by the way, which should have been a red flag, but I told you I needed someone immediately. She could do my makeup, but I had to go to her. And she said she charged an extra $50 with people who make last minute appointments. And I was like, okay, because I just need my makeup done. So I had to put down a $50 deposit and also put down $50 for the late appointment. So far I paid $100. So I asked her for her address and she said she doesn't give out addresses till the day of appointments. And she said it was for safety precautions. I was like, okay, so that's a little weird. So prom day comes and I plan on getting my makeup maybe 2 hours before prom. So I called her 3 hours ahead. And when she gave me the address, she was an hour and a half away. I'll come back for part 2. Part 2 of the worst makeup artist in the world. So like I said, 3 hours before prom, she tells me last minute that she lived an hour and a half away. And I asked if she could make accommodations. Maybe we can meet in the middle somewhere. She said yes, but I would have to pay for her gas. So I was like, okay. We met halfway at a Wendy's. I know ghetto, but literally that was the only way. When she came, she had brought some of her makeup. Before she started, she had asked me, like, where's my foundation and my concealer? And I'm like, what is that? When I tell you I do not know how to do makeup, I know nothing about makeup. She said that she bought foundation and concealer, but I would have to pay extra for using her foundation and concealer because she had her own makeup line
On the spot, I had to pay $20 for the foundation and $10 for the concealer. So that's an extra $30. By that time, I was not even adding up the calculations of how much I'd be paying for my makeup done. I just wanted my makeup done. And guys, when she finished, I did not even like it. My face looked so cakey. Before I could tell her that I wanted anything changed, she said that'll be $350.
My husband, 33, has a friend, Carl, 33, who he considers to be one of his closest friends. My husband sometimes calls Carl his nicotine because of how much he misses him and wants to spend time with him. They do everything together. They're even co-workers working the same job. Unfortunately, Carl's wife passed away from cancer 3 months ago, which caused him to distance himself. My husband felt devastated for him. He recently started spending more time with him and brought him meals. We planned a 3-day vacation to another state. I made a hotel reservation for 2. Unbeknownst to me, my husband had invited Carl to come with us. This made me upset because it spoiled the entire vacation. Not trying to be dramatic, I only found out when he went to pick him up. I sucked it up after my husband explained that Carl is a recent widower who's been wallowing in grief for so long and needed this vacation. The problem is money is tight, and since Carl hasn't worked ever since his wife passed, he couldn't pay for his own room and we didn't have a budget for it. My husband said that we should just share one room. I again sucked it up since he said that I would be out all day on the beach anyway. First night, I was in bed when my husband and Carl got back. I got woken up by my husband telling me to get out of bed and sleep on the mattress he put on the floor for me, and that he and Carl would take the bed. I asked if he was serious, and he asked what else is he supposed to do. He said that Carl was a guest and we can't let him sleep on the floor, and at the same time, I can't share a bed with Carl while he, my husband, sleeps on the floor. I told him I didn't sign up for this, but he told me to suck it up and try to put the Carl as a widower card. I told Carl to get out and then got up and got dressed to go home. My husband started yelling at me, calling me irrational, but I wasn't having it. I left the hotel and traveled back home. Carl didn't say anything when he saw me leave, except that I was making this non-issue an issue. When they got back, my husband refused to even talk about it, but still said that I ruined this for Carl and us and acted aberrantly and disgustingly. I admit Carl is struggling and I might have ruined this for him, but I didn't even know he was coming. Am I the asshole for going home after I got told to sleep on the floor? Me, 29, and Erica, 27, dated for 2 years and have been engaged the last 4 months. After we got engaged, Erica moved into my house. I still pay the mortgage while she pays for utilities, groceries, and household items. After we get married, the plan is to put her on the house so that she gets equity as well. Her friend Leia, 27, and her have been best friends since high school. I don't particularly like Leia, but I've also been cordial as I know she's going to be in my life. My issue is that Leia thinks of my home as hers. Here are a couple examples. She always brings her boyfriend over and he's a sketchball. She talks to me in a very disrespectful way in my own house, like I'm the guest and she and Erica own it. One day I went out to my garage and some of my tools were missing. I checked my camera and Leia and her boyfriend were in my garage with Erica and took some tools with them. I asked Erica and she said they were just borrowing and would return them. I had to reach out multiple times for them to finally return the tools weeks later. I have a nice wine and liquor collection and I was working late one Friday. While I was working, I heard some clinking of bottles together. Erica wasn't home, so I went out to see what was up. Leia was behind my bar. I asked her what she was doing, and she said that Erica told her it was okay to borrow a bottle of wine for her party and that she would pay it back. I told her no, that it wasn't alright and to leave. I asked Erica about this, and she said, I don't remember telling Leia she could take a bottle, but I might have. I don't remember. I told her at this point I wasn't comfortable with Leia being in my house. Erica sorta understood but also blew me off. Final straw came when I wanted to go hit some golf balls and my clubs were missing. I freaked out because I golf regularly and my clubs are my biggest investment. I went to check the camera again and Leia used my garage code and took the clubs. I called Erica and told her to get them back immediately. Erica said that Leia had asked for the garage code to grab some clothes from her closet but not my clubs. I threatened to call the police but Erica stopped me. Leia kept telling us that her boyfriend needed them for a work thing. I got them back almost 4 days after they were taken and they were dirty. At this point, I sat Erica down and told her that if I see Leia in my house again, then I'm calling the cops, no discussion. Erica got upset saying that it's her best friend and it wasn't fair to do to her in her house. I said it's a pattern and since Erica's stuff isn't affected, she doesn't care. I said that she can go over to Leia's if she wants to see her. She said she can't do this because Leia doesn't like her apartment and Leia's boyfriend is always there, which makes Erica uncomfortable. I'm now getting the silent treatment and getting called an asshole, but I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. Am I the asshole for telling my fiance if I see her friend again, then I'm calling the—
I'm finally pregnant with my crush's baby, but I want to abort it. Hi, my name is Blanca and I'm 18 years old. And my current boyfriend is Samuel. I was in love with Samuel since like forever. I had quite an obsession for a period of time. Whenever he would go down the halls, I'd freak out. Whenever he would call my name, I'd freak out. Whenever we'd be partner up for projects by the teachers, I would freak out. There was a point in time where I tried to steal his phone to see what girls he was talking to and ruin their relationship, but I didn't. So one day I needed a date to prom and I took the courage to ask him out. Surprisingly, he said yes. I was shocked. So I went to prom with him and I looked beautiful, as did he. We both basically fell in love that night, but I don't know, something was turning me off from him. Maybe I liked the chase. We ended up playing Twister at a local hotel because both of our parents were too strict for us to enjoy a night together. Everything was really great until I saw him texting some girl on his phone.
And I explained to him that this was slightly cheating. Make sure to follow for part 2. Screenshots in the next part. I'm finally pregnant with my crush's baby, but I don't want it part 2. So we ended up playing Twister at the hotel and everything was really great until I saw him texting some girl on his phone. I literally told him that this was cheating because he was talking to another girl. And he saw absolutely no problem with it. So I'm gonna let you guys be the judge of this. A screenshot is gonna appear on the screen. Let me know if he's cheating or not. Because this really aggravated the hell out of me and I'm trying to help him see the point. So that's what he said. And apparently he was just gonna go hang with the boys or whatever, but still, like, this is weird. You know what I mean? So I ended up feeling symptoms of pregnancy and I decided to take a test. And I was pregnant, but I wanted to abort it. I didn't want to keep it. But this is what he said. I told my best friend about it and she said to abort it too. I texted him that I didn't want to be with him anymore and that I'm aborting the baby. The next morning, my tires were off and he told me to go to his car. I literally got so scared, but this is kind of hot. Stay tuned and follow for part 3.
Am I the asshole for refusing to babysit for a woman again? There's this woman I babysit for who lives down the street from me. Due to our schedules, I babysit for her on Mondays and Wednesdays. The other babysitter, who I'm friends with, babysits on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Sticking to the schedule, it was Wednesday. I was very stressed out and not in the best headspace. The kids were playing outside and I was inside where I could still see them, doing homework and studying. For some reason, I wasn't feeling good. I was feeling dizzy and my stomach was acting up. I threw up multiple times and I could barely stand up. I called the woman and asked if she could come home because something was wrong and I needed to leave. She told me to try and hold on until the end of the day. After like 15 minutes, I texted her telling her I needed to leave. I called the other babysitter and I asked if she was free and if she could come over because I wasn't feeling good, and she agreed. I could barely make it outside the house. My brother came to pick me up. I fell asleep as soon as I got home. I woke up to missed calls and texts from the lady asking why I left. Am I the asshole for refusing to babysit for a woman again? I called her back and told her that I couldn't stay because I wasn't feeling good. She said I didn't sound sick and I could have held off until the end of the day. I said it didn't sound like much to her, but I could barely make it to the car. I told her if she's gonna treat me like this, then I don't want to babysit for her again, and hung up on her. The other babysitter's schedule is often filled on days she doesn't babysit, so she couldn't take those days that I babysat. I got lucky she even came. She told me that she really needs someone to babysit on my days and that she can't afford to lose me. I told her I needed time to think about it. I feel pretty bad, but I don't want her to make me work if I clearly wasn't able to. I should probably add that she was not working at this time. She was at a party for a friend she had not seen in years. I think it's also important to mention that the babysitting started as a favor. When the other babysitter's schedule changed, I offered to help her. This became regular and I started getting paid for it soon after. This has also happened once before with a personal emergency. She wouldn't let me leave, but that time I stayed. So am I the asshole here? For disinviting my siblings from my wedding? It broke my dad's heart and he decided it was too much for him to accept. This is after talks between them where he was essentially told to know his place, stay in his lane, and demoted with the clear message being nothing would change. I am so pissed at them. They have tried to push me to meet my real dad and have told me it's okay to go back on what we said. Initially, they were invited to my wedding, but with this whole mess, I told them they were no longer welcome and I did not want them to show up. They told me that just because they have a relationship with their real dad doesn't change things between us. I told them it does, that if dad isn't our real dad after everything he has done for us, then we're not real siblings, because technically we are half siblings and cousins. I also told them that my dad is still my dad 100% and biology is meaningless to me, and so it was best for them not to come because I no longer want them there. What I said hurt them. My sister-in-law, who's married to my brother, told me I was an asshole for throwing that in their faces and cutting them from my wedding, like we haven't been siblings their whole lives. I think that's almost more annoying to me because that's our dad, but he can be crapped on and discarded like he's nothing. Am I the asshole? Am I the bridezilla for wanting a child-free wedding? I am a 28 female and my fiance, 27 male, want a child-free wedding, and it was one of our early decisions when planning our wedding. Neither of us really like kids at this point in our lives, and we would rather have a fun, carefree wedding without children present. Our wedding is next June and is taking place on a working brewery floor, aka not the best place for children. Both of our families live in different states, and we are having everyone come to the city where we live. Therefore, all families have to travel. I informed my future mother-in-law this weekend that our ceremony and reception would be child-free. She immediately started listing off 3 of my fiance's cousins who have small children who wouldn't come if they couldn't bring their kids. They would all have to fly or drive to our city, get a hotel, and find childcare if they would like to attend. She said it would be too much to expect them to find childcare on top of that. I said, well, I guess they would have to decline our invite then. This caused some bitterness, and she said me and her son should just elope then. Am I being unreasonable for not wanting children at the wedding? I don't want to make exceptions for anyone, and I want to be firm in our decision. It's our dream brewery wedding, and I really don't want children yelling, crying, or potentially getting hurt at the wedding, but I don't want loved ones to not be able to attend either.
So I have a lot of makeup artists that follow me. One of the most common questions I get asked is, how do I handle a client that wants makeup that I think won't look good? You know, I think the color's wrong or the look wouldn't suit, whatever. I want to tell you the story of the client who completely changed how I think about this forever. So the year is 2007 and I'm working for a major cosmetic brand as their state makeup artist down in Melbourne. It's a big centre stage event and I've been brought in to do makeup on stage for the crowd. So I got a little microphone and banners and a team of artists under me, like it's a whole thing. We're about halfway through the day and this very sweet little old lady comes in to get her makeup done with me. We help her up into the chair and I notice that she's got like crazy makeup on. She's got this crusty blue eyeshadow that's kind of crumbling under her eyes. Her foundation's like 6 shades too dark. She's got this crumbly, chalky, like bright coral lipstick. This crazy patchy bronzer. And this is all with this like platinum blonde beehive. My initial reaction is I want to fix it. So I'm thinking slightly softer pink, maybe silver on the eyes, foundation in the same postcode as her skin, and I'm about to pitch this to her. And I could almost hear a voice say, stop, ask her why she wears her makeup that way. There's going to be a part 2, I'm sorry. Welcome back to part 2 of the client who changed how I do makeup consultations forever. If you haven't seen part 1, go back and give it a quick watch. You're all caught up? Great. So I asked this lady why she wears her makeup that particular way. Keep in mind, I'm on stage, I've got a mic on, everyone's listening. And she tells me that as a little girl, she survived the concentration camps. Not gonna cry. She was the only one of her family to survive. She made it to America and she landed in California. And the women there had blonde beehives, blue eyeshadow, coral lipstick, and really dark tans. She told me that every day she does her makeup and she puts on those colors, she remembers how lucky she is to be free. So I'm crying, the crowd is crying. And I think, well, I can't undo that. I asked her, look, you know, what can I do for you? She said, look, my eyesight's not so great. I'm finding that my eyeshadow's kind of crumbling onto my cheeks a little bit. Do you think you could do it for me like I had it when I was young? So I do a little eye primer so that her blue eyeshadow is not crusting everywhere. And I fix up her bronzer so it's not so patchy. And I make her look essentially just like the better version of exactly what she had on when she came in. Her husband comes to pick her up. He's got to be 90 if he's a day. He says she looks just like the day that he met her. And it's just so right. And it made me realize that As a makeup artist, our job isn't just face paint. It's about understanding and respecting the client in my chair and doing what they need to feel their most beautiful, to feel their strongest, maybe even to feel free. And if that means breaking the rules you were taught in makeup school, then that's what you do.
When I had a sugar daddy. And yes, I know what you're thinking. You had a sugar daddy. And yes, I did. Well, kind of. So when I was 18, I was very much into my fitness and all of my social media accounts had progress pictures. To give a little bit of background, I was already in debt at the age of 18, purely because I was in a toxic relationship, but that is a completely different story. Anyways, one day I get a message on Snapchat. Now, although I didn't know him personally, he wasn't a complete stranger. I used to post to an app that was almost like Instagram but for fitness people, and I knew him from there. I was a little bit hesitant to open the message, but when I did, I was surprised to see that he was asking for my PayPal details. There was no true reasoning behind this at first. He just said that he wanted to send me money so I could buy a game that I wanted to play, and I called his bluff. I didn't believe for a second that this random man off the internet was going to send me any money for anything. I sent over my details, and about 20 minutes later, I couldn't believe what he had sent. Story time about when I had a sugar daddy, part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, go and watch it. So after assuming that this man was joking, I had a sum of money enter my account. He had sent me £40 and insisted that I bought the game that I wanted. There was something really strange about this and I didn't know how to react. And as much as I tried, he wouldn't let me send it back. As time went on, I continued to speak to him as he was really nice, although he was triple my age. As I was into my fitness, I'll be honest, back then I was really different. I would post progress pictures in my underwear. And one day it came up in conversation that I was struggling a little bit financially. That is where this man turned around and told me that he could help me in return for something else.
When I was in 6th grade, I had a friend. Let's call her Rachel. I told Rachel that I liked the new boy. We'll call him Drew. Rachel then proceeded to act like she liked Drew because she knew that he liked her and she wanted to get back at me when I did nothing to her. When I found out that Drew liked both of us, I talked to Rachel and asked her to please step down because she didn't even like him. She didn't respond, but when I texted Drew and asked him if we should go out, he then said he was taken. I immediately know she didn't step down. I busted into tears, and when I called one of my other good friends, let's call her Molly, she told me to get the sweetest thing in my house and have a little snack. As soon as I walked into the kitchen, my mom saw that I had been crying and asked me to tell her what happened. Long story short, I got my phone taken away for 3 weeks for liking a boy. I hate Rachel.
When I was like 5 years old, I almost got kidnapped. Story time. So back in the day, it used to be safe for kids to play out on the street, or so I thought. You know, when you're a little kid, you really don't listen to your parents. Well, anyways, what happened was that my mom was cooking, and I was like, Mommy, please, 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 let me play outside with my new scooter. My mom was always very protective, so she would not let us out of her sight. She's like, I'm gonna go outside for 2 minutes with you, and then we're gonna come right back inside. I was like, yay! So I'm just over here playing outside, and my mom was like, se me queman las tortillas, se me queman las tortillas. For those who don't know, that means she was burning tortillas. She's like, sit on the steps here in the driveway. You know me being a dumb little child. I was like, let me see how fast I can go. Whee! Here I go with my scooter. I'm still in the driveway. This man and this woman are walking across the street. Then that creepy man was like, hey, come here. That woman was like, I just want to see your scooter. I dropped that scooter and I said, skirt. They started running after me up my driveway.